Hi there, everybody, and thank you once again for taking time out to watch this video. Today I've got Hania Kabban. I think I pronounced that right, but I'm sure she'll correct me if it's wrong.
Yes, Hania Kabban.
Hania, okay. Hania's doing her master's degree in art therapy, which we well know it can be used a lot in mental health. To help people overcome a variety of different problems. So, even though Hannah's still a student as such, she's got a lot of knowledge about art therapy, and so I just thought it would be interesting to share it with you because it's another form of psychotherapy, and if it works, which I know it does, then it's worthwhile talking about it. It could just be the therapy for you to help you overcome your problems. So, welcome, Hania. Thank you for taking time out
Thank you.
to watch to
Thank,
to take part in this video.
thank you, Dominic. Nice to be with you again.
Good. So the first question, really, Hania, what is art therapy? So people out there watching this, so they got a better idea what it is. Can you explain briefly what actually is art therapy?
Okay, so art therapy is a psychological mental health tool that helps people with their social, emotional, and psychological well-being. It uses psychotherapy as well as art making as a transformative tool.
Okay.
And it could be used for many different things, and practically anyone can benefit from art therapy.
So what sort of, give me an example, what kind of mental health issues would art therapy, in your opinion, be really beneficial for, or have been very
It could,
beneficial for?
yes, it has been shown to be very beneficial for children suffering from stress and anxiety, trauma, um, as well as adults as well, of course. Um, Depression, PTSD, aging, um, many other many other things, eating disorders as well, special needs.
Okay.
So lots of things. It could be beneficial for many things.
Okay, you mentioned adults. That was going to be my next question, actually. You said children first, but then you mentioned adults. So it works. What about adolescents, teenagers? Did it work? Can it help them as well?
Yes, of course, yes, because they're in a transitional phase. They're still kind of finding who they are, and anytime it's a transitional phase, it can create stress and instability within the self. So art therapy can bring a lot of help in that phase as well, and it helps them to get to know themselves better, to develop self-confidence, self-awareness, and self-esteem as well, which is a crucial time at this period in life as well.
So how? I mean, I can share a little story with you in a moment about a young lad who did did a drawing for me. I'll come on to that in a moment, but I'm not an art therapist, so I'm just curious to know from your perspective and your understanding of it, how did art therapy how did it help people? In what way did it help?
Art, basically, at its core, helps us explore meaning in our lives and a proper understanding of who we are. It helps us reveal our inner psyche. So any of our internal images will appear in the art making process. So not only is the art making process healing by itself, it's also quite revealing, and you can see patterns and resistances and things like that that emerge, which help us in the therapeutic process to help the client see where they're at, and
Okay.
You can also see the changes and the development as they go along in their work, which is, wonderful to see through their work as well.
Sure. Well, that's interesting because, as I said, I'm not an art therapist. I want to make that very clear to everybody. But when a young lad I had a number of years ago now, who was about 9 years of age, I think, and he found it very difficult to open up, to express himself. And eventually, I just said to him, I knew that he could draw. I knew he was interested in art, and he was quite a creative uh, little boy. So I said to him, for the next session, I would like him to draw a picture. Anything you want, I said, draw me a picture or paint a picture, whatever, and bring it with me and tell me all about it. And his eye kind of lit up at that. He was really pleased that I'd asked him to do that. When he comes back the following session, comes back with this incredible drawing and had many different characters in it. And one of them was him. And what that enabled him to do was to open up about what's going on within him. He was able to talk more freely, more easily about what was going on in him from that picture he'd drawn. So what I found
Hmm.
for me was that it was a real good way of getting certainly a child, and I've never done it with an adult, so I don't know, but I'd imagine it's the same. It really got him to open up through his expression and what he put on that, what he's drawn for me. And
That's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah. So I can really see, and I do know from first-hand experience how powerful drawing or art therapy, we're going to call it, can be. Even though
Hmm.
I'm not an art therapist, I knew he was very good at art. He loved art. He was very creative. That's the only thing I could think of. Draw me a picture. So I wanted to,
Hmm.
the idea behind it was to get rapport with him, but it turned out that picture represented a lot of what was going on within him. So
Hmm.
really see the potential of art therapy.
Yes.
So
Beautiful. The thing is with children, especially if they don't have ease with verbal expression, Dominic, they will find an outlet with art making. And they don't have to be creative. They don't have to be good at art. They can
that's
just
going to
be
be my next
themselves,
question.
and
Let's be good at art, but
they can create something that will be revealing both to them and to you as a therapist of, what is really going on there. And they and if they do find comfort with you as a therapist, then they will open up and tell you what's going on in their story,
okay, yeah,
and there are different things that certain therapists use as assessment images. Others use non-directive approaches and allow the child to do whatever they want and then see what comes up, and from that develop
yeah,
a portfolio of their work and see what's really going on here. So there are different approaches to this, but a good one is asking them, for example, draw me a tree or draw me a house, and you can learn a lot. You can see a lot from what's going on there, when it comes to children. You could also ask them to draw their family. You can also see what's going on in their family through their artwork,
yeah, absolutely.
which is really interesting to see. The same thing with adults as well, but you could, with adults, we could ask them to do self-portraits or art journaling or collages, or playmaking, all sorts of things, depending on the client's needs.
Absolutely.
Also, depending on how the therapist works, the therapist might ask their clients to choose the media they want, or he or she might also introduce them to a new media they haven't used before, just to see how that goes.
Mm,
And how do they deal with that process with something new? How do they deal with a blank sheet of paper? How do they deal with a form of clay that hasn't been molded yet?
yeah,
And
yeah,
then seeing the whole process from beginning to end as it, you know. takes form, takes place. The emotions that are expressed from the beginning to the end are also something we kind of hold and contain as therapists throughout the making process. And then we can ask them questions like you did, and they can talk. And whenever they stop, we kind of help them along
Yeah.
and kind of dig deeper in a way.
Yeah, happily, yeah. And if you think about it, from the moment a child really goes to school, you know,
Mm.
they're already being introduced to art, aren't they? It's part of their learning process, you know, not just learning. I'm on about learning art here now. I'm on about learning about colours, about perception of things. I suppose how to express themselves. I mean, it's kids love making things, doing things, and that is all art, is it not? You know, it's so they use
Also,
art for learning. Okay, so you're um trainee, if you like, a student to be learning, doing your master degree in to be an art therapist. Hania, have you ever participated in as a client and had art therapy done on yourself as a student?
yes, I have. Uh, Before I became an art therapy student, I experienced art therapy. And that was a while ago after the events of 9/11 in America.
Mm.
And I went through loss, and also, so that led me to art therapy. And I remember my first experience was drawing a tree that represented me within a circle or a mandala in Sanskrit. And the circle helps you really focus on the self and what's really happening on the inner, the inner being.
Mm.
And I remember very clearly drawing one side was like a winter tree, so it had no leaves, nothing, and the other side was in spring. So, and it was in full bloom. So the contrast between winter and spring and seeing those two sides of me kind of helped me realize that while a part of me was sad and experienced loss, so therefore a part of the tree was bare, on the other side there was spring and it was full of leaves and flowers, and it showed me my inner resources and my hope.
Wow.
So that helped me hold on to finding within myself the resilience um, within me to move forward in my life. Now, of course, I had a lot of healing to do. That wasn't enough,
Yeah.
but it was an eye-opening experience. Another time I experienced music with art making, and I lay down with my eyes closed and listened to classical music. And when I opened my eyes, I had to do some art making, and it was very powerful because being in that state, in another state, you see, you feel things a lot more deeply, a lot more intensely.
Okay.
So things like birds and nature and so on really came up, and they were in my drawing. Now, initially, I didn't have the art skills to develop a nice picture, but and that was frustrating for me. But as an art therapy student, I learned that that's not as important. So the product is not as important as what you go through the process. And it's really about expressing yourself, regardless of the image being aesthetically pleasing or not.
Right.
Throughout my Arts for Health and Wellbeing training, I also underwent art therapy. And now I continue to undergo art therapy as a student as well, because this is part of our training. We need to go through the process
Sure.
in order to help others do the same.
Absolutely.
And in my year one placement, I worked with people with eating disorders
Okay.
who had underlying issues of trauma, depression, stress, and anxiety. And often eating disorders is revealed as symptomatic to these underlying factors as well.
Okay.
This year, I will be on another placement with other, other people, probably with having an array of mental health situations, or simply people who just want to distress or get to know themselves better.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Hania. Very good of you to do that. Thank you. Well, art therapy, again, I don't know a great deal about it. I just about what it all entailed, but it does sound like a real good psychotherapy method. From what I've read about it before, which is not a great deal, but and what my belief is, there's lots of different psychotherapy tools out there. Everyone's different. We're all unique within ourselves, and what one therapy might work for this amount of people or this group of people, but not for that group of people. So, the more therapy tools one got, I suppose, the more flexible one can be, and greater chance of helping more people. So,
That's right.
yeah,
There is no one size fits all. There is no one therapy for everyone, just like there is no one therapist for everyone either. So it's a very personal thing. It's a personal choice. But I would say, those who are curious about it and have wondered about trying it, it might be a good idea to give it a try and see,
absolutely,
where it takes them, because they would be so surprised.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, a final question is I just recently found this out myself, but actually, apparently, you need to be art therapy. Is actually what is a UK government recognised qualification. Is that correct?
Yes, it's a government regulated mental health profession.
Right.
You do need to be HCPC registered. You do need to have a master's in order to work in the UK, and preferably be registered with the BAAT, which is the British Art Therapy Association.
Okay.
Um, so, so yeah, it's important that you are seeing a professionally trained art therapist.
Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. So, and when will you be qualified? When do you finish your masters?
Well, if all goes well, hopefully summer of 2023.
Okay. So
But
those of
to
you out
get my HCPC registration will take a few months more to obtain,
there,
but hopefully I will be securing some kind of employment by the end of summer. So fingers crossed, or a few months later to take a break. Whatever comes up, we'll see.
what's right for you at that moment in time. Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yes.
anybody who's interested in art therapy, having art therapy, do make sure you find a recognised art therapist. But if you want to wait for later to Hania qualifies, then you can contact her. Her details will be in the description below. So if anybody got any questions to her about it, I'm sure you'll be happy to answer them, will you not? Yeah, good. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah,
With pleasure.
yeah. Okay, well, great. Thanks very much again for taking this time out, Hania, to
Thank you, Dominic.
do this short video. Again, it's another form of therapy out there, another type of psychotherapy. At the end of the day, it might just be the right therapy for you, the viewer who's watching. So do look into it. As Hannah said, it can be used for on both children and adolescents. So it it might just be the right one for you. Who knows? So, but do your homework, investigate, and make sure you get somebody who is a proper professional, recognised art therapist. And by the way, if you like this video, please do click on the like button, and please do share on Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media that you may be using. And please do subscribe to my channel. I'll be uploading many more videos, all to do with mental health issues, psychotherapy, and different ways of dealing with it. So on that note, I want to say thank you again, Hannah. Thank you very much. And
Thank you for your time.
and to everyone back at home or wherever you are watching this video, remember, take care, look after yourself, and always be kind to yourself. I'm Dominic Beirne. Bye for now.